I mean, come on, dude. Come on. Like, it's if if the invention doesn't work, it's just very, very unclean. It's unsanitary. You're jacking off in a bottle. But if the invention does work, you're drinking magical jizz. Anyway, so he begins drinking his own replicated semen for pretty much the rest of the blog. Like, I was looking through blog ratings and it'd be like, today I drank some semen. So, and his photo's on this blog. It's his real name, his address is on there. I can't imagine any business associate ever stumbling across this thing and being like, hey, Paul, can I see you in my office today? You're not, the water you're drinking at work, it's any semen in it, right? He's like, what? No. Fingers crossed behind his back. Salt water. But anyways, so the madness continues. So he starts doing it in February. He has pretty consistent updates on his blog. But on June 28th, everything kind of takes a turn. There's only like a blog post every month or every few months after that. And the blog posts are saying, all the posts say is, I'm still alive. I'm not dead yet. I'm still alive. He's just like letting us know that he's not dead yet because he thought he had a heart attack a couple months after building the food replicator because he wasn't eating enough food. And he was taking vitamins via the replicated water. So he would buy vitamins and he'd take some of them, but most of them he would drop in water and drink the replicated vitamins. He started putting like silver into the source bottle and then spraying the replicated silver all over his body to get rid of germs. Like crazy, crazy stuff. And the last update to the website was 2015. Now, in 2015, he had gone back up to his weight of 190, 195. So he did start putting weight on again, but he hasn't posted anything that I've seen since 2015. So it is possible that he has passed away at this point. Or he's built his new replicator he was talking about. On March 17th, he talks about his friend saying, you know what? I'd really like to replicate a hottie. 20-year-old hottie. Paul's like, let me think about that. Here's a quote, in his own words, which gives an interesting idea. The guy was joking, by the way. The guy who said he'd like to replicate a 20-year-old hottie was joking. He didn't realize he was joking to a supervillain. He didn't realize he was joking to a supervillain on a shoestring budget. Which gives an interesting idea. What if you got two 55-gallon steel barrels, added the magnets and a wire between in the usual manner, and put a person in the input barrel? What? So some guy's cracking a joke, and Paul's like, that actually might work. We might be able to replicate a human being. Or turn him into water. See, that's what I don't understand. You're just going to turn him in water? So then he goes on, there would need to be the usual electrical connection between the cans, and the person should be barefoot and touching the bottom, and should probably also touch the side of the barrel with his hands. What? So now you want to replicate a dude? Like, the other guy was talking about, like, a chick, but you're replicating a guy now? That's a weird turn, Paul. Bizarre. Okay, but anyway, that kind of threw me off. What would be the result, he asks. What would be the result of taking squirts of a replicated person? And then he says, I have no idea, luckily. He does say that, basically, you put a person in a 55-gallon drum, and then you take a giant water bottle, like an Alhambra water bottle, and you would suck some of them out and turn them into water, and then you could drink the person's essence. And he starts to say, maybe I could use this, like if someone's fighting with me, if someone's angry with me, or I don't like them, I could take their essence and drink them, because he repeats the phrase, if you have a problem with something, you don't have enough of it. He's thinking, maybe if I have a problem with someone, because I don't have enough of them, but if I drink them, they're inside me, so I have all that I need. That's his rationale. Now, he goes, obviously, I'm not going to be able to get this person into a 55-gallon barrel, especially if it's somebody who doesn't like him. If it's somebody who doesn't like Paul, he's not going to be tricked to coming over to his murder dungeon to hide underneath the barrel. But he does have a helpful tip for that. What you can do is you can get a non-digital photograph, okay, a lock of their hair, okay, or some of their blood. He will drink the blood of people who he's having trouble with. He will put some of their blood into a container, replicate it, and then drink the water. This guy is... I mean, come on, Paul. Come on. You're already drinking your own semen. I wonder why he didn't say, oh, I'll just drink their semen. From point of view, this is either a creepy way to end it or a heartbreaking way to end it. I personally think it's a little bit of both. But in his blog post where he's trying to figure out if he can replicate a human being and drink them, he says this: another interesting experiment to be done. He says it's like he's wearing a smock covered in blood with a little doctor's mask all bloody, holding a butcher knife. And he's talking specifically about taking hair or blood or photographs of people and replicating them. Another interesting experiment to be done. I'll try it with some photographs of people. I'll start with a photograph of my daughter, who hasn't contacted me for 4 years. She doesn't like me. And I don't even know where she is. She does know my address, though. So basically, this guy is suggesting drinking his daughter. That's super creepy. DeadRabbitRadio@gmail.com is going to be our email address. You can also hit us up at Facebook.com/DeadRabbitRadio. Twitter is @JasonOCarpenter. Dead Rabbit Radio is the daily paranormal conspiracy and true crime podcast. You don't have to listen to it every day, but I'm glad you listened to it today. Have a great one, guys. Hey, everyone, that was The Food Replicator. That was episode, 177, The Food Replicator. But I know you guys aren't here for The Food Replicator. Maybe you are, maybe you're hungry, maybe you need some food. But first off, let's talk about the Discord thing. It's funny, I kind of built it up in the intro. I'm not going to say that I'm not going to talk about it, but there's not much to talk about. It's funny because after we shut it, for those of you who aren't familiar with the story, if you guys heard this episode, we had a Discord server. It was around for about a week. And then it just stopped. Then it just ended. And I think I got a bunch of emails after it ended, and people were like, hey, I'm really sorry that it shut down. Are you guys going to open it back up? I guess people were like posting gross photos, diarrhea photos or something like that. Or who knows? I don't know. I wasn't there when people were posting photos like that. But I always just said, whatever. Like, I heard that we had got raided at some point. That's just, being on the internet, you're going to get raided. But that's not the reason why we shut it down. I didn't shut it down because a bunch of diarrhea photos showed up. It's far more simple than that. It's actually a really interesting story. First off, let me give a shout out to BarfyMan362. He's the one who set up the Discord server, and this is what happened. He sets up a Discord server. I'm not a huge fan of Discord servers or Discord myself. I think it's a totally awesome tool, but I don't like the layout of it. I don't like the color scheme. I don't really like anything about it. I don't like the alert system. I have used it to play Dungeons & Dragons with Matt and Eddie, and I've used it to play Dungeons & Dragons and Mort Borg with my buddy Carson. Small group stuff. Here's exactly what happened. Barfyman says, hey, I want to set up... Long-time listener of the show, long-time supporter of the show. He goes, hey, I want to set up a Discord server. I go, that's totally fine. He sets it up. I announce it on the show, and he goes, wait, what? Like, I didn't think you were going to do that. And I go, oh, huh? Now, he is more familiar with Discord than I am. You most likely are more familiar with Discord than I am. It went from being Barfyman and me, he put me as like an owner or a mod or whatever the role I had, to 140 people in about 36 hours with no mods. Like, he immediately had to begin assigning mod roles, but for every mod he assigned, 10 more people would join. I announced it on the show. Show is much bigger now than it was back then. Back then we had a listenership of about 4,000, like overall, and I think now it's like closer to 10,000. But out of that, 140 people joined right away, and we're both like, "Oh, that's cool!" Like, whoa, and that's what I was thinking. I was like, "Oh, that's cool," and then I just walk away because he invented this thing, and Barfyman's all sweating. He's like, "Dude, I don't have a mod team for this." And here's the thing, the mods that he assigned totally did their best. Like, I'm assuming, because again, like, from what, we'll get to the end, but he sets up these mods. I'm not bad talking the mods or anything like that. I'm not even bad talking to people who joined the Discord. But what happened was I have this philosophy with this show. If I'm doing something for the show and it is distracting from the core mission, the daily paranormal conspiracy and true crime podcast, that content delivering it from me to you, my listener, my friend. I'm your virtual friend, and I don't see that as an insult because I have my virtual friends are Red Letter Media and Ohmwrecker and all of those things. Dream. They make my day. I see a new video from Red Letter Media. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Talking about Star Trek Season 1, I'm down. That's the mission statement of the show. So if I start doing something else for the show and it's beginning to distract from that mission statement, I let it go. Remember I was doing listener mail? I did like 4 or 5 short horror stories. I really liked them. I had a lot of fun doing them. No one else did. No one else liked them. They're consistently in my lowest downloaded stuff. That's totally fine. It was not to brand. It was a weird setup, but I enjoyed telling fictional spooky stories. Whatever. I stopped doing them. The video game. I talked about doing a Dead Rabbit Radio video game once when I was just piddling around with it on the back end. It was really cool when I announced it. Then it became work, and it was distracting from the show. I stopped working on it. I'll probably pick that up at some point, but doing video. I would love to do more live streams. I would totally love to do like weekly live streams for the Patreon supporters and then monthly live streams for everyone else, but it's just so much time. And it detracts from the episode. I have to set my Patreon live streams way in advance. If it takes away from the show, from the mission statement of the show, I let it go. This Discord got set up. Now it's something that is out there with my name on it and the brand on it, which is fine. Like you can have fan servers. Like I have no control over that. But because I announced it on the show, it became an official Discord server, basically. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, oh, great, now there's this thing out there, and I know we have 7 mods, but we're getting all these people. I'm announcing it on the show. It's in the show notes, even more people. It was 140 people in the first day or two. I don't know what we peaked out on, but I remember one night, I wasn't on it that much because I don't really like Discord. I have to teach myself to like Discord, but I remember one night I went to bed. It was like 10, 11 o'clock at night. An episode had dropped, and I pull it up, and there was not a single mod on. Which is fine. I mean, they're not being paid to do it, right? We don't have a schedule set up for them. They're volunteers. I'm not mad at them because they're not on. We set this up. Barfy Man, I'm not throwing him under the bus. He set it up. I'm the one who messed it up by announcing it on the show. If I had let it grow organically with him, slowly bringing people in and finding the mods that would regulate the flow of people, totally would have worked. It was becoming a distraction to me. I was thinking about the Discord and thinking, great, it's public. So the night, though, I remember it was starting to distract me because I was announcing it. I think I announced it more than once on the shows and the show notes. It basically had become part of the show. I remember the night I saw there were no mods on there, I talked to Barfy Man and I said, hey, listen, I can't have this being you can keep this going, but I can't endorse it anymore on the show. I don't know if I'm going to edit it out, because I have gone back and edited things out of episodes and into episodes and things like that. Show notes and da-da-da-da. And Barfy Man actually agreed. He goes, yeah, it had grown way too fast. And again, it's not any knock against him or the mods. It grew up way too fast. That's the story. I guess at the very end, we got raided. I remember I was getting emails from people going, people were posting really gross photos. I got a couple emails or even tweets, Twitter messages from a couple of you guys saying, I apologize for my behavior on the Discord server. I was doing stuff that I know you wouldn't agree with, and I hope that it was really cool to get those messages from you guys, because I know anonymity, and I know I'm not trying to excuse bad behavior online, but because it's still bad behavior, but I thought it was interesting. I got more than one email or message from someone saying they were personally doing not great stuff for the show. They were posting stuff for other podcasts. I'm like, no, you know what I mean? Like stuff that reflects badly on the show. And when my name is on it, I think the best thing is if you have to apologize to your friend about it, just don't do it in the first place. It'd probably be a good thing. But those are all and again, no one ever